we really hope that this is the first of our 100 stores going to open in worldwide. We really need your support to make this a remarkable, a new retail experience. That's why we open outside the mall.
To celebrate our launching, soft launching, we're also giving 30% discount for all of you guys for the first purchase. Woo! All registered guests, okay, will be entitled for one spin of our Wheel of Fortune.
Gear Up is made athletes feel comfortable and more confident during training or sport activity. Stay fit, keep healthy.
Throw your hands to the screen.
I'm Ashe, the founder and group CEO of MCM. So I hope my sharing can motivate some of the students to become successful or more successful. I still remember years back, I was sharing this, how a kampung boy after graduate to be a global business investors. It's very encouraging to know that nowadays a lot of young entrepreneurs after graduate, they also want to be a businessman. It's very interesting. And of course, when we come to all this, basically there are two important questions that I always tell myself. What do you really want to achieve in life? It has to be something that is measurable. For example, you want to save a lot of money. How much is how much? It can be 1 million or 10 million, whatever. And second is, for example, you want to travel the world. it has to be something measurable, like you want to travel 10 countries in every year. So the second question is, are you prepared to sacrifice to achieve what you really want to achieve? It's not mean to sacrifice your life, but to sacrifice your time. For example, time to play videos or time to watch TVs and so on. It takes a lot of sacrification to achieve what you really want to achieve in your life. And of course, when it comes to all this, as a young entrepreneurs, basically I come from a small town called Batu Arang. Many of you may not heard of this place. Basically, it's near Rawang, a small population of 20 plus thousands in agriculture and big manufacturing. And I come from very ordinary family background. Basically, my mom worked in brick factories. My dad, my late father, is a lorry driver and a bus driver. My mom have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make sure that there are enough food on the table for 3 siblings. It's a very tough life. I still remember Standard 1. Okay, my first exam was ranked number 2 from the back, not from the front. After encouragement from my mom, I still remember until today, she said, son, I know you can do better. So in my second exam, I improved. And the third exam onwards, until now, I ranked top 5 students from the front. Of course, when it comes to all this, right, when you mix with the wrong friends, I still remember in standard 4 and 5, mixed with wrong friends, naughty, neglect of study. I still remember my mom forced me to kneel whole night, okay, to know what I have done wrong and to change myself. Then when it comes to standard 1 or remove class, I have to work part-time after school at a furniture factory. Can you imagine? At the age of 12, you have to work in a factory, furniture factory, just to make extra money so that I can buy my dream bicycle. Okay? And PMR, I still remember I managed to score well because I always believe that exam, you score well, that is a key for you to get a better life. And when it comes to Form 5, too involved in sports, until I neglect my studies, I only managed to score 1A in my SPM. But lucky enough, because of the sport and all that, I managed to go into UTM KL. And at that time onwards, I promised myself I have to study hard. Because when you study hard, you get a good job, you get a good salary, you can change a better life. While I'm studying at UTM KL for diploma, I work part-time as a teacher to make extra money so that I can study second diploma in informatics, because I believe that to get a certificate and you get a good job, okay, so you can give a better life to parents. And initially, I thought only to get a diploma, but because I got a Best Students Award, I managed to go into degree. And I also, because of this belief, I study very, very hard so I can score first class honor in my degree. And I still remember in 2002, when I graduate, I was so lucky offer a job as a network engineer with a starting salary of 7,000 ringgit. But again, I rejected the offer and full-time in business. I still remember at the time I met my senior, Lucas, who did very well in network marketing. What he said really triggered my thoughts. How many 5 years our parents have to wait for us to successful, to give them a better life? So without second thought, I rejected the offer and full-time in business. Of course, the second thing that changed my mind also, there are 2 books. The first book is Copycat Marketing. As a network engineer, we always believe in client and servers. In business also the same. You can literally leverage on power of leverage, okay, E equal to MC square in business as well. Everyone have 24 hours, but if we can leverage on other people's time and other people's money, basically it will fasten our success. So in this book also trigger my thoughts that most of the people, basically they trade their money, their time for money. Say for example, if you work with a salary of 3,000 ringgit, working for 26 days, 8 hours a day, basically the value per hour is only about 15 ringgit. That is only enough to buy a KFC dinner plate. Or after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, when you're enjoying a salary of 10,000 ringgit, the value just changed by the numbers. It's only 50 ringgit per hour. And I don't want people to decide to determine my value. So That is also one reason. The second reason is, in this book, it mentioned that a lot of people, okay, there's a study that on graduates, after they graduate, at the age of 65, they noticed that 95% of people, either they are still working at the age of 65 or they are financially broke, dependent on their next of kins. There are only 5% people who have made their life. And it's very important. If you continue to do what you always done, you continue to get what you always have. So if I jump into this rat race at the age of 65, I'm sure I'll be at it 95%. So I choose to be 5%er. The second book that changed my life is this Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. There are 95% of the population that are working so hard to grab the 5% of the wealth. Either they're employed or they're self-employed. And there are only 5% of the elite group that control 95% of the world wealth. Either they're business owner or they're investors. So that motivated me to become a business owner and later to become a full-time investor. But to become successful at the age of 20 plus is very, very tricky. But there's a mentor that always tell me, you have to do what you need to do. And to become successful, one of the key is you have to be able to sell. So I jumped into network marketing. I still remember when I graduate, okay, riding a bike and try to sell all these healthcare products. And when you see a lot of peers, they're working a salary, a stable income and whatnot, but because you have a dream, you want to achieve. So I still remember I tell my parents, give me 1 year to prove what I choose is right or wrong. If I'm wrong, I can go back to work for the next 30 years. But if I'm right, I'm able to change the life. So in 9 months, I managed to get 2 times of what I have rejected. So it's a proud moment to prove you really what you did. And then of course, I was so lucky, managed to go into a business, into commodity trading. In that 3 years, basically I learned a lot of lessons in business. It's not easy in business world. Basically, it's cat, dog eat work. In the 3 years, I lost everything that I made in the network marketing, and I still remember I owe credit cards more than 500,000 ringgit. Can you imagine? Every day banks are calling you to pay the minimum payment, and you are counting how much you have in your wallet to pay for the petrol. It's a tough life, but because of the dreams I want to achieve, I managed to, you have to think bigger. So all your problem becomes so small that you don't feel that big problem. And I was lucky that I feel at the young age, at the age of 29 years old. So what is the escape? Okay, what is the secret for me to overcome all these debts? Basically, in this book by Andrew Carnegie, he mentioned that 90% of the millionaires become successful in real estate. Either they invest into real estate or they own a real estate business. So that motivated me to jump into this real estate business. In that few years, I really worked so hard to sell all the properties, to cover all my debts. And I was so lucky. Within a year, I managed to successful in these industries. And because of the passion I have in real estate, so I managed to receive some of the awards, international recognitions. And I was covered by a lot of international medias and so on in these real estates. So I always believe that property can change one's life. And another interesting part is Warren Buffett had mentioned, if you don't find a way to make money while you are asleep, you have to work until you die. Either we work hard for money or money work harder for us. So that also gave me a very strong motivation, how to design a systems that are able to make money while I'm sleeping. So I created these simple investment strategies called Property Investment Life Cycle. It was nominated in the recent Edison Awards. Basically, it came from a very simple philosophy. Like human being, we born, we born, we grow, we die. Same in property. You started from a piece of land, you develop. Once it's constructed, you have to manage it, and then you renovate to a better value. Either you sell or you rent it out, and come to a few years when you have to refurbish the old buildings. or there are some buildings that you have to refurbish or redevelop. With this simple strategy that we deploy in more than 10 countries with small capital, you don't have to be super rich to be successful in real estates. And while we become successful in our life, I always believe that the more we give, the more we receive. So I established one charity campaign called For a Better Tomorrow to help those disadvantaged women, kids, and all this, because of this a simple belief that we have to share what we have gained to the society. And I'm not trying to say that I'm successful enough, but what I always see that a lot of people, they see successful on the surface level. What really happens, there's so much of hard work, risk, late nights by all these entrepreneurs. So if you are prepared to become entrepreneurs, you have to really sacrifice, because nobody will know what you have gone through to become successful. And successful doesn't mean that you have made a lot of money. It's about how many lives that you have touched. Just like now, I'm sharing all this just to hope that from this simple sharing, it can change someone else's life. So how to become successful? Actually, is you don't need to become a scientist. It's not rocket science. You just need to find someone that have successful. Okay, it can be whoever that you think is your mentor or model. You just copy what they have done and you achieve the same results. Okay, just copy and paste. Simple. The second is attitude. All these successful people, they have one thing in common. They have a very good attitude. Either the desire to become successful, right? It's not about the skills. You can hone your skill later, right? And then, of course, when it comes to this, the journey is so long that you have to believe that what you believe. For example, like KFC, Colonel Sanders, who had turned down by more than 1,000 times before he became who he is today. Thomas Edison, one of my mentors, 10,000 times. Okay, he had to prove that what his proof is right, not what he proved is wrong. So to become entrepreneurs, you have to prepare to fail. Okay, the more the merit, because you have to believe what you are doing. So you have to love what you are doing. Don't settle. Just keep on trying until the day that people recognize you for your effort, for your success, not the amount of money that you make. So I hope in this simple sharing, it can give you some motivation, or it can help you to think out of the box that you deserve successful, even you are young, even you are just a fresh graduate. So any questions, you can text in our group, okay, or email to us, to me. Basically, we want to coach more young entrepreneurs to be successful in their life as well. Thank you.